So we heard this week from Dr. John Cutlack, the structural engineer. He gave evidence to the inquest earlier in proceedings as well, didn't he?
That's right, we heard from John Cutlack before the stadium visit when he talked about the layout of the ground, and he returned this week to give his expert opinion on the safety of the ground on the day of the disaster.
And he was talking about things like the crush barriers and the capacity.
Yeah, he had a number of criticisms. He said there were serious flaws with the crush barriers, with the heights of the barriers as well as the layout of them. And he said the capacity for the ground had been wrongly estimated. He said it should have been the capacity for the West Terrace should have been more than 2,000 less than it was.
Okay. And also he talked about the availability of turnstiles and a number that were there for the Liverpool fans who were trying to get into the ground.
Yeah, on April the 15th, 1989, there were 23 turnstiles available for Liverpool supporters. John Cutlack said there should have been 10 more than that.
Okay. And he gave an estimate of the number of fans that were there in Pen 3 of the Leppings Lane Terrace.
Yeah, he looked at pictures from the day and he estimated that there were about 1,300 in Pen 3 on the day of the disaster, and he said a safe number for that area would have been 678.
So that's on the day, but what about the years and the decade that led up to what actually happened on the day?
He looked back over the previous years and he said the seeds of the disaster were actually sown in 1979. And he said there were a number of golden opportunities in that decade for officials to do something to improve the safety of the stadium.
Now, at the beginning of the week, we also heard from Sheffield City Council Officer David Bones. What did he have to say about
Well,
what
he
happened?
was the chief licensing officer for the ground, and he said that when the City Council took over as licensing authority from South Yorkshire County Council, they weren't made aware of any dangers at the ground or at the Leppings Lane end.
Okay, and what can we expect next week from the inquests?
Next week we've got a number of witnesses who will be talking about previous matches at Hillsborough, including the 1981 semi-final.